Then there's Paramount Skydance and Warner Brothers Discovery. Both are trading lower this morning. Warner Brothers down 2%, Skydance also down 2%, with Paramount raising its breakup fee to $5 billion in its bid for the company. That in itself is a sign that it can clear regulatory hurdles. That's also happening with recent reports that Netflix is the lead bidder for the company. Bloomberg Intelligence analyst Kevin Neer joins us now with the latest. Kevin, let's start with this idea that Netflix is in the lead. And you saw shares turn negative as soon as that report came out. It feels like no one really wants Netflix to buy this company.
Yeah, absolutely, Danny. I think that you outlined it correctly. I mean, the Warner Brothers Discovery M&A saga just continues to dominate the broader media ecosystem. And as far as who's in the lead, we continue to see these little inklings dribbling out. We're hearing now that Netflix is upping its bid to 85% cash. But I think that now the concern is this price getting too high? I mean, David Zaslav says he all along always wanted a bidding war, of course, good for his shareholders. But now the question is, where will the financing come from? And is, the price just getting too high?
Okay, well, what's better then for Warner Brothers Discovery? Cold hard cash of Netflix being like, hey, we have the most attractive bid, versus a Paramount that's like, well, we won't need to break you up. Maybe the regulatory hurdles are a little bit more easy with us. Is that enough to convince them to come over to Paramount despite the maybe higher price tag that they could get from Netflix?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that's exactly what they're trying to mull right now at the board level. With the antitrust concerns, as you bring up, I mean, with all of these three reported bidders, there's overlapping businesses, right? So it's not a clear cut, flying through by any means. But to your point, we do think that, and our antitrust litigation analysts have written about this, we do think that Paramount is the best case from an antitrust perspective, and that's largely due to just the management team's relationship with the administration, right? So in terms of the antitrust, we do think that Paramount has a little bit more of an edge there, whereas Netflix, given that they're going after the studio and the streaming assets, just the size of how big Netflix is globally, HBO Max is now very scaled up globally as well, that could potentially cause some hurdles, not just in America, but elsewhere as well.
It'd be super interesting to see if Netflix would start to put movies in theaters. And just on that note, you have some really good research out with your view into 2026, what the box office is going to look like. It's been so chronically under pre-pandemic levels. Will we get anything close to back to it?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's seeming like it's just still a little bit more stop and start. On the supply side for the box office, it does look like it's going to be better next year. We have Amazon MGM, who are releasing their full slate, if you will, of movies, going from 4 to 9 or so. And so from the supply side, it does look good, but now we're concerned about demand, right? And we're looking at, pre-sale tracking for Avatar Fire and Ash that's coming up at the end of the month. That is a little bit softer than we anticipated. So maybe consumers are allocating their budgets a little bit differently with holiday shopping coming up. We don't know, right? So it's going to depend on the health of the economy. There are some big movies coming up next year.
Are any of them not sequels? Are any of them new movies?
It's a very IP-heavy slate. I will say we're seeing a rebound in animation, which we think is a positive. But ultimately, we would like to see maybe a little bit more of a mix in original titles and different sizes of budgets. Because ultimately, going back to the theaters, which you've seen a lot of pressure on that, taking it back to this whole Warner Brothers question. For the theaters especially, you want to see a little bit more of a spread out box office, so you don't have as much pressure on the profit line.